So the Lakers want to fire Darvin Ham. If you didn't know what's happening in the league right now, the Lakers want to fire their head coach, Darvin Ham, due to the fact that he kind of sucks as a coach for that team. Now, is it his fault? Is it, something that might come up later? We don't know, but we're going to see, and we're going to check out the details why. First, what we do know about Darvin Ham is that Darvin Ham is inconsistent. He's a coach which prefers to try more things to see which one works as opposed to just staying with one thing until it works. He's not a ride or die for anybody. And the only thing that he knows is that he has to keep LeBron and AD's minutes pretty consistent. And even that he's tweaked with a lot. What we want to talk about today is the fact that he has been coaching now the Lakers for about 2 to 3 years, and he hasn't really been able to do anything with this team, but it's not all his fault. For the first year, the Lakers were built like trash. They didn't have anything going for them. They were kind of, slow. They were old, and they did that thing where they traded for a bunch of veterans and they couldn't play. So the second year, they came back. They definitely switched their roster, but it still wasn't working. They were still kind of older, and they couldn't shoot, and they couldn't find it out. So recently, the Lakers, and especially last season after the Russell Westbrook experiment and all that was, after they traded a bunch of pieces to Washington, which probably could have helped, they let Alex Caruso go. So after that, last season what they did was that in the trade deadline, they focused on getting a bunch of pieces. Younger players, shooters, just better people. And through all of this, Darvin Ham has been consistent. He has been now the coach for about 2 years. I think this is his second season or third season being the coach. And really, now there was really no excuse. So when these trades happened, where they got all of these guys like D'Angelo Russell, and when they completely revamped their squad last year, Dennis Schroeder, it was really good, and it was honestly a team which worked and went first in the West playing together. They didn't get to be the first seed in the West because the record was already bad, but they definitely got the best winning record of anybody in the Western Conference during that period. So they look great. But in this offseason, some key moves have led to this team really not being able to adjust anymore. The biggest move, in my opinion, was losing Dennis Schroeder at point guard. Dennis Schroeder was a point guard who could shoot the piss out of the ball. He could handle it. He could make the right decision. He was a veteran, and he was a tough, perimeter defender. I think that was the biggest loss for them. They also lost Lonnie Walker and a bunch of the guys which contributed to their Western Conference run last year, and in my opinion, that's what has made them be this way. Now, the reason why people are going to say, so why is Darvin Ham getting blamed for this? Well, it's because Darvin Ham tries stuff. Darvin Ham is a coach which, honestly, even though I will say he's not the best coach, but I will say that he has, a kind of way of working which I respect. He tries a lot of different things to see if they work, and he's not scared to do it. And that's always been his motto. I'm going to put as many lineups as I can out there, which I think are effective to see if those fix our problems. Now, what has happened now is that none of them have fixed the problems. In my opinion, it's only made it worse with all of the new offensive pieces that they brought in, because the players which they put on the field are mostly offensive at the moment. So a lot of people are going to ask me, why are they going to fire this dude if he's been nothing but positive, done this, done that? Like, what is the motive behind all of these actions? And the real reason is the fact that Darvin Ham has probably played too much with his players' egos. Apart from Anthony Davis, I don't think any other player has been have really been 100% in their role. AD's the only one who's been like, okay, you're the center, we're gonna keep you there. right? But apart from that, all the other guys, D'Lo sometimes gets used as like a shooter, spot up, but sometimes he's the main ball handler, and he gets way less minutes now. Sometimes we'll see a guy like Austin Reeves be on the floor and be able to command the offense and run the ball up the floor. And sometimes we'll see him off the bench, just to get some. Other times we'll see Austin Reeves be just delegated to be a shooter in tough situations. Torian Prince, his role has also remained consistent. Just catch and shoot, make your own shot if you have to, but mostly just stick to, defending and playing your position. And finally, you have a guy like Vanderbilt, which his minutes have just been completely cut off. And I will say for good reason. And Vanderbilt, which his minutes got drastically reduced. And then some other players, which have come in and out. Gabe Vincent has been absolutely garbage this season. He's like Kendrick Nunn too. And really, in my opinion, this has nothing to do with the coaching. And I'm just saying this because I really want to put that point out there. I think that Darvin Ham has been a pretty solid coach. Obviously, as a coach itself, and when you really come down to it, LeBron is going to be making the big decisions because he knows the most. And I'm sorry, Darvin Ham could be a coach, a professional hired coach, but LeBron knows more than him and a lot of other coaches too. But the problem with me is that when I see that team, I'm just looking and I'm being like, yo, like, what are they doing? Because the problem last season is that they didn't have depth. So what did they bring in? Enough depth, and they brought in some good players, and they made it work. It was a good mix between young guys, veterans, people in the organization who had been there before. And we got to see, a team which worked together. But now that we are seeing the modern version of this, the problem was the off season that the Lakers had. In my opinion, the biggest mistake of the Lakers was letting their players go. Darvin Ham is suffering right now because of the lineup changes. Because last season they had it all figured out. This season the Lakers are dead last in allowed 3-pointers by their opponents, and they're last in 3-pointers. Last season this wasn't a problem because your backcourt was Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reeves, mixed in with the fact that you would have AD and LeBron out there who could also, get a shot off, and you would be scared of their shooting ability. Meanwhile, also being able to put someone out there, like if they needed shooting, they would put they would run a smaller lineup, like with Lonnie Walker or something like that, But now it seemed to change, and the reason why they were winning so many games originally was because they could lock up their teams. But it seems like their defense and their effort has taken a back seat just after a few losses. And I think that just has to do with the Lakers, mentality. I think that it's Darvin Ham's job, and this I will critique him for, to set the mindset that the players need to have before the game. I'm sorry, but you're the coach. You need to be the one saying, let's go through the fire. Let's go and ride it out. And let's make this work as a team. So I believe, honestly, that I do believe that Darvin Ham is not a perfect coach and that he has made some mistakes. I do believe that this mostly comes, and what's happening to the Lakers mostly comes from lineup changes and things that have happened. In my opinion now, what they have to go do is chase good role players. A star is not going to help you. I would like them go talk to Toronto, that Toronto's, selling everybody off to go and build around Scotty. Go and get Gary Trent Jr., go get Dennis Schroeder. Because, why would it hurt Toronto, who just traded away, one of their best players in OG Anunoby away? Go and try to get somebody, maybe from the Kings, like a Herder or, someone of that caliber who can just really post up and shoot. Or maybe go and just talk to like Detroit, try to get Bojan Bogdanovic. They have nothing to lose. But I firmly believe that all of the things that are happening to the Warriors are just because they lost a lot of players this offseason. I think that last season they had it figured out. They knew what their lineup was. They knew what was good for them. But this season, because of the fact that they have brought in so many players and those players are not ready to play for the Lakers, like Gabe Vincent, who's been playing terribly, Jackson Hayes, which has been playing great, but he gets no minutes. And respectively so, because they already have Christian Wood and Anthony Davis. Then you have other guys which are just there and they seem to not even be involved with these games. And if we're being 1,000% honest, it seems like the Lakers run the same 9 players and they have no variation apart from maybe, Max Christie, but he's kind of trash. So if I'm being honest, the Lakers just need to change their lineup. I don't think that the problem is the coaching, and I don't think the problem is, any of the superstars, especially LeBron, which has been on a tear this season. So yeah, that's what I think, and tell me what you believe.